Hi, thanks for tuning in to Turn to the Stars. My name is Andrea Klim, and I'm an astrological counselor and a shamanic practitioner from the local area. And today, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we are talking about exploring what's changing. And I have a guest, a very special lady here with me today, Wendy Fletcher. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, it's great. Wendy and I've known Wendy for quite some time, and she is a regular reader and healing therapist at our holistic psychic fairs, of which we have one coming up on September 7th. And Wendy and I have putting our heads together today to talk in a very straightforward way about the changes that we're experiencing in our world. We're all under the same umbrella, and we'll also talk about the astrological influences, but we're also going to talk about some of the history and some of the experiences that are being had throughout the world. So as you can see, our background picture is of the Star of David, which is a tetrahedron surrounded by the flower of life, encompassed by the sun. And Wendy and I were having a really good time talking about this, the informative piece of this, this image, and because it's really a very beautiful image, and you can see, Wendy was talking about some of the meanings of the flower of life, and so it was first the Star of David. We're going to talk a little bit more about this further in the show, and then the flower of life. And many people, watching this probably know, but we thought we'd share a little bit about that. And we do want to tell you first off, before we get into the show, about the fair, the Psychic Holistic Fair, which is on September 7th, Saturday, September 7th, at the Yard Seafood and Steakhouse, which is at 1211 Mammoth Road in Manchester. And we're in Salon B in the back. And we have some really interesting lectures, which are free to the public, going on. And we hope that you'll take advantage of being able to come and take part in those. The first one, starting at 10 a.m., is with Ann M. Mitz, and she is going to be sharing information about essential oils and the chakras. She is an aromatherapist, and at the end of her 15-minute lecture, she'll be offering those oils for sale. And the second speaker we have, which is Sandra Champlain. She is the speaker, and she's a professional speaker and author of the book We Don't Die. She is going to be from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. She's going to be offering a lecture, I believe, starting at 12:30, and afterward she'll be doing book signing. So we hope that you'll write this down on your calendar. And we've got a little video. I'm going to play that for you right now, and then we'll be right back with the rest of the show. is sharing with you, all the participants of the fair on September 7th, and also reminding you the theme of this fair is the magic of your beliefs. There's a different theme for every fair that we've done over the last 3 years, and this one, the magic of your beliefs, because what we believe in is what we tend to manifest in our lives, and it's what holds us fast to stay on the same path that we're on. And the next thing that we want to talk about, which is what today's show is about, is exploring what's changing. And the energy influence of the Star of David really is, and that's why we have this image behind us, the conductor of restoring memory. And we've had that, you've seen that on past shows, that we've had 2 occurrences in the last 30 days, starting with July 29th and with the final twin Star of David on August, let me see, that was just this past Sunday, and that was kind of the door closing, but what it was a conductor of restoring the memory to us. It was an energy influence that reminded people that it's okay to feel, because what you feel is your guide, and that is, it helps you to embrace the future. Now, this particular Star of David, we're going to show you a chart on the screen right now, and that's the chart that we're talking about. You can't actually see the Star of David in this chart. This chart is actually a picture of exactly right now, Tuesday, August 27th at 12 noon as we're recording this show. And what you're seeing, you do see in the middle of the chart a triangle that is made up of green lines, but there's another one there's 2 more that should be in there, but I didn't mark the aspects to the south node, which is really, and it's so perfect for us today, talking about what's changing, what we've experienced in the past, what's changing. And so the Star of David is really present there, but you also see in there a big square, which is a cross in the middle with a square all around the outside. And as I was telling Wendy before the show, that energy of that grand cardinal square is very similar to, if you can imagine this or think about this and then associate it with your life, as a teacher, there's this teacher that keeps showing up at your door, knocking on the door saying, you know what, I want to teach you this, I want to teach you that, and your door cannot stay closed. You have no choice. So that's part of the challenge is that you have to open that door. You have to look at these changes, and this is a universal chart, so it is really affecting, influencing all of us. And so we have Wendy and I actually did sit down on Sunday, and we were talking about this energy and the Star of David, and saying that the Star of David does provide us with the openings for the change to manifest, and it also provides a remembrance of the feminine or the power of woman.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have Saturn in Scorpio, which is stimulating the awareness of those sex crimes. Wendy was really good at, saying, Andrea, these are the things, we're in associating this with the world. She brought up the sex crimes and the harsh reality of the secrets that are surfacing, and this is an influence of Saturn in Scorpio in the chart. And then we also talked about Uranus in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn, and that this this remains constant until 2015, and it is stimulating this continuation of structural changes. And Wendy really should talk about the examples here, because she really was the one who was saying, these are examples. So we did put this list together of examples. Do you want to talk about some of these,
Sure.
Wendy?
Well, one of the things that has struck me in the news is the fact that the mayor in San Diego, it started out with one woman saying that she had been sexually harassment, by him, And then there was another one and another one. And the total now is 18, which is amazing, because for 18 women to come forward, I don't think that would have happened even 5 years ago.
Right.
So that was one of the to me, that was encouraging, and that women are finally saying enough is enough, and no, you can't lie your way through this anymore.
Right.
To the men that are doing this. And then rapes in the military, that's
Yes.
another thing, that women are coming forward, and thank goodness that the military has now has another place that women can express their grievances. So that's important I think when you add them all together,
Yeah.
that it's showing us that things are changing. We've kind of come to that tipping point that no longer are people going to keep quiet, because
Right.
there's so many rapes that unreported. And also we talked about India
Yes.
and how things are changing in India as well, because it's just horrific over there
Yeah, for the women.
for the women, and for these men to be arrested, first sought out, arrested, and something's going to happen to them, and they're changing laws in their country as well.
Yeah, that these are really great examples. These experiences are real, and they do remind us that, we're here to remind you that the experiences that you are having are very real, and not to, it's not necessary to keep them secret, because the energy of the, like I said, the teacher knocking at the door saying, open your door,
Yes.
come on through, and it's okay to identify these things, these patterns, these structures that have been kept, the action is now, we're able to take this action and be much more out in the limelight. And it's interesting too, because more on what's changing. Wendy and I were discussing that there's many books being published which bring to awareness about the continuation of life after physical death. Another huge change in the world. And one of the books that I showed you earlier is We Don't Die by Sandra Champlain. I'm currently reading this book. Sandra will be on the show on September 9th. But this is a book about the raising of awareness of the continuation of life after physical death. And her book is about that, and you can tell when you read the book that it's written from the heart. And Wendy has a couple books that really bring this to light as well.
Right. We were talking about near-death experiences.
Right.
And I had said that, years ago, Dan and Brinkley wrote this book. Well, at age, how old was he? 25, back in 1975. He was struck and killed by lightning. And then he had 2 more episodes of near-death experience. Another one was lightning. And then he wrote this book in 95. And he has gone on to champion this whole near-death experience and helping people transition. And he worked in hospice. I don't know, he's thousands and thousands of cases where he's been there in hospice to help people transition. And now he's got a nonprofit called the Twilight Brigade, and it's compassion in action for veterans, which I thought that was incredible. And then just recently, Dr. Eben Alexander, he wrote this book called Proof of Heaven, and he actually is a neuroscientist. And what he's been able to figure out, bottom line, is that so many times doctors have been told, I've had this near-death experience, and they're going, yeah, right. That what did they say? Fantasies produced by brains under extreme stress. And that was doctor's explanation of everything.
Right.
And then it turned out he was in a coma for 7 days. And his recovery, I mean, there's a whole story in here, but 7 days he was in coma, and he came out of it without anything wrong with him.
Yeah, and I wanted to add, because I can't forget this thought, and because we're talking about this, and we talked about the Star of David and the influence of it, and that brought the heavens to the earth and the earth up to the heavens with the heart. And it's interesting that the shape, that this form of the star tetrahedron is the same shape, the Star of David, star tetrahedron, and the microchip in a computer, and the human synapse, the picture of a human synapse stimulated, are exactly the same shape, and they all hold memory.
Wow.
There's no mistake, and so, bringing to light that, we aren't only more proof of, for the doubters out there, for those that, are now becoming more aware, which everybody is. There's no way anybody cannot adjust or change. And if you're, to the awareness that we are a spirit, a soul, a mind, and a body, and the body being the final component, where if the spirit can't hear it, the soul can't hear it, the mind can't hear it, the body makes sure we do.
Yeah.
There's the teacher knocking on the door, right? So, and it's funny, Wendy and I were talking about that some people actually can see their departed, their relatives. Some people feel them. Some people get signs from them. Some people smell a scent that reminds them of a loved one. It's, everybody is different. None of us are the same. So the way we feel or experience things like this, they are really real. And that's another conductor from the Star of David. The energy is all really bringing the feminine, or the awakening of the sensitivity of the feminine energy down to earth. And some of the things that Wendy and I were talking about that are changing, structures that are changing, is the belief systems of the world. It's no longer necessary to keep it secret that you have seen a spirit. It's no longer necessary to let fear be your guide. It's no longer necessary to hold the pain of your past inside. Men are being revealed who've kept women captive or enslaved, or have controlled women. Women are feeling empowered to speak out. And the truth is coming to the surface about women being held in bondage. And we were, Wendy came over Sunday, and we had a really nice walk early in the morning, and then we had blueberry pancakes with syrup and sausage. It was great. So we had, this idea of talking to you about, you can look at that chart, but that's a map of what the heavens is holding and what the energy is. And so it is an influence. We all know that if I move this book over here, it's going to be a different feel than if it was here.
Yes.
And, the planets have a vibration, and how they are affecting us, that's what we thought, the changes that they are stimulating by where they're at physically. That's my point.
Yeah. And I think it's important for you at home as well we hope that this is triggering something for you, and you can even think of your own circumstances and how this is true. And that's why we wanted to
talk about this.
Talk about it, and bring it to the light, and see what else was there, and hopefully this is just really, helped.
It is, we're all under the same umbrella here on Earth, whether we're different spots on Earth are, going to have a little bit of a different experience, but still very similar. And, in the past I talked about August 20th as being a date that we would have something that was coming our way that was going to affect many people. And what actually happened then was the Congress really taking a stand against the Obamacare and that type of health care, and that was came to kind of a head, and I don't believe that's been settled yet either. And so our point is that these things, the energy influences around us, what you feel, what you actually process through your brain,
and your intuition.
Yes.
Yeah, don't forget that.
Your intuition, very much your intuition, what you feel, the little messages that you get. Yes, that little voice that Sandra talks about that in her book.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, we all have it, and I know you're probably out there saying, well, that little voice is your guide. And it truly is. It's our guide speaking to us. It's the spirit, our spiritual guidance speaking to us. So anyway, we wanted to sort of just bring to light on a very logical level today these things that are changing, and discuss that the world we're living in today is a segue. What you're experiencing is a segue to you realizing what your truth is. And it's through the experiences that you're having in your life. So, and I just want to let you know, Wendy is again at the fair on September 7th, along with all of the rest of us. And she is a spirit channeler, and she does hands-on healing. And if you go to turntothestars.com, www.turntothestars.com, you can see lots of information about the fair. That video, we have a flyer there. So bring your friends, bring your family. We'd love to see you. And did you want to add anything about the exploring what's changing for our guest? Or
I think we covered it. Mm-hmm. Well, just as a segue or a jumping off point for you to figure out, oh yes, because if so many times we don't understand that really we've gone through a ton of changes until we actually look back maybe 4 months and say, oh, how have I changed? Mm-hmm. What's different here? And then all of a sudden, well, I don't know, this is what I do for myself, and even from a year ago, oh my gosh, there have been a ton of changes. Mm-hmm. And how have I changed? And am I listening?
It's kind of like a review.
Yeah, a review. Yes, definitely a review.
Yeah, so. And just a kind of a final point, September is a great time for really going through that review. Astrologically, it is the last month before a whole new cycle of change starts happening, which is at the beginning of October, because that new moon at the beginning of October leads to a lunar eclipse at the end of October, followed by a solar eclipse. Great conductors of change. So September is a great time to break things down, analyze them, and see how things fit in. How can I work with this? How can I be a better service in the world around me? Right.
And hold on to your hat.
Right. It's true. It is a pretty intense month of, looking at detail. So that was why, Wendy and I came together, and I thought it would be great to have you on the show, and we just had such a good time.
It was amazing how it just all unfolded, and I think so many times when you just go with the flow and see where it takes you, and what direction, and allowing. I think allowing's very important to.
Right. So anyway, if you have any questions on anything, you can always email us. Wendy, your email is
WendyScottFletcher@yahoo.com.
And I am Andrea at Turn to the Stars. And we hope that you will mark your calendar for the fair and come and find out personally what changes are knocking on your door, what that time period looks like, and and from a very sensitive standpoint, what your spirit guides are saying. How can that information help guide you?
Yes.
And from Wendy's standpoint. So I do want to say thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome. Thanks for
coming
having
with
me.
us today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you, everyone out there, for watching Turn to the Stars again. We do appreciate all your support, and we do look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, take good care, and we'll see you then.